our Capital One Bowl Mania Challenge. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. It's All Four Downs Podcast presented by the CMG Sports Network.
able to come out, pull it out. Yes, their defense, I think, getting a bit better. They played. I know, Jared Goff's very up and down, but I they did a tremendous job last week of really stopping, slowing those guys down. I think the Niners are. It's going to be a challenge to the Niners. I think they'll put up some points. I think they'll keep it close and competitive. But I see Seattle finding a way to pull this game out and Russell playing well. Having a big day and a big spot here and pulling out the win.
We'll wrap up in the AFC South, and we'll start with the Titans and the Texans. And as we saw last week, the Texans have been playing terrible defensively, but they got a passionate post-game rant from J.J. Watt. That was crazy. J.J. Watt was very passionate during that post-game rant. But I got the Titans winning at 34-23 because I think the rant could help, but it's hard. But they just don't have the talent to stop a player like Derrick Henry in a game the Titans must win. Remember what Derrick Henry did last year in a must-win game in Houston. He went off on the Texans. I think he does the same thing this game. I think Derrick Henry goes for at least 150 yards. I think Ryan Tannehill throws a couple touchdown passes. I think Deshaun Watson will do all he can to keep the Texans in the game. But I got the Titans clinching the AFC South and the number 4 seed in the AFC and winning the game 34-23. But Justin, will J.J. Watt's emotional post-game rant spark the Texans to an upset over the Titans?
Yeah, I would. I want to pick the Texans. I would, but again, you need 22 guys in the field to be able to win this game, and I just don't know how. You would hope Texans come out motivated. I just don't see it. You see Hector just put it up there. Yeah, the Texans are 31st.
31st in run defense, and I think Derrick Henry could that could be possible. He can get 223 yards and get 2,000 rushing yards in this game. I think after the game, I think he can get to that. I think it's possible.
I definitely. He's going to be aiming for that too. So on the Texans, you're going to need 5-6 guys to be able to tackle this guy, and the Texans just will not be able to stop him. I think Watson will put up some points because we've seen the Titans D is not great either. But but he's not 100%. Sounds like he's banged up at this point. So I think they'll put up some points. There's just no way they're stopping Derrick Henry in this offense. It could be a very, very long day. Texans run defense.
Not at all. Not at all. So the last game is between the Jags and the Colts, and in this game, I think the Colts win this one big. I think it's going to be Jonathan Taylor's going to have a huge day on the ground. I think Phillip Rivers will have a good day through the air. James Robinson isn't playing, so I don't think the Jags offense is going to do much. And I got the Colts winning this one big, 31-10 over the Jags. But the question is, Justin, the Jags beat the Colts in Week 1 for their only win. Can they do it again and end the Colts season?
Yeah, I don't think so. I get the Colts 30-14. The Colts is time.
I think we might have lost. Are you back, Justin?
Yeah, I'm back. Indy's not going to throw the ball 55 times like this meeting, which goes.
Yeah, it looks like.
Without James Robinson this game, I just think the Jaguars aren't going to be able to do much. He's had such a most yards for free agent rookie. So I think Phillip Rivers does all he can do. He's playing better, and the Colts will take care of it against Jacksonville, 30-14.
Yeah, and I think but the way it's looking for me, the way I predicted all these games, and I think the way I predicted it, though, when we look at the AFC playoff picture, the way I predicted it, I got the Titans winning, I have the Dolphins winning, I got the Ravens winning, and I got the Browns winning. So it looks like, for me, the Colts will be the team for me on the outside looking in at 11-5. But for you, it looks like it's going to be the Dolphins at 10-6.
Yeah. Because the Dolphins losing.
And you got everyone else winning, right?
Yep. Yeah. So I got the Dolphins.
Yeah. So it looks like the Dolphins will be your team on the outside looking in. The Colts will be my team on the outside looking in, and it's crazy. We could end Week 17 with a team that misses the playoffs in the AFC at 11-5, and have a team in the NFC, a team win the NFC East at 6-10. That's so 2020 to me.
Yeah, right. Because I think the last one that have 11 wins missed the playoffs was the Pats back in 2008.
Pats in 2008. The 2008. The last time the Pats missed the playoffs, they went 11-5 and missed the playoffs. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, they crazy 17s, and you trying to get rid of that, and here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, and
even the 10-win team's gonna miss it. And those, if one of these teams lose, they
Oh yeah, they'll definitely be a 10-win team that misses it. We know that for sure. A 10-6 team will miss it. But here's a fun fact: Carolina was the last team. Yes, the 2001 Panthers won their opening game against the Vikings that year in 01, and they lost 15 straight. Jacksonville could definitely be the next because they won their opening game as a Colts. Great fact, Hector. That definitely is a fun fact. Yeah, it's a fun fact. Yeah, I remember that. Chris Winkie actually started. Chris Winkie, you remember the Heisman Trophy winner from Florida State? Yeah. He was their starter.
Looking for a casual baseball podcast to listen to? Well, Baseball with the Bard, presented by Clovercrest Media, has just what you're looking for. Tyler Bard and Noah Cross cover a wide range of happenings in the MLB and then dive into a deep focus on the Red Sox and Yankees. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for your weekly dose of Baseball with the Bard.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event.
Looking for a casual baseball podcast to listen to? Well, Baseball with the Bard, presented by Clovercrest Media, has just what you're looking for. Tyler Bard and Noah Cross cover a wide range of happenings in the MLB and then dive into a deep focus on the Red Sox and Yankees. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for your weekly dose of Baseball with the Bard.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Drawing About the G-Men, the Giants football podcast. And let's address the Giants right now. And boy, oh boy, tough loss. But the Giants are still in the playoff hunt. I said it when I made that bold prediction that the Giants were going to win 5 of their next 9. This was going to be the game that they were going to win. This was going to be the last one. And get them in at 6-10. I've been saying it since before the bye week. The Giants will get in 6-10, the worst record for a team ever to make the playoffs. But let's bring in the rest of the crew and discuss this last game. What's going on, Joe, Sean, Zay?
Sure.
Now, Joe, what did you think of that last performance from the Giants?
Oh, boy. Look, I said I wasn't sure how they were going to fix the disaster of an offensive line. And while it definitely played better, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't nearly good enough. Again, I talk about time of possession, how important it is for these guys to be able to stay on the field and drive the football so that the defense isn't on the field for 37 minutes. And again, you had that happen. You look at, you could put the 85 Bears on the football field and have somebody run 74 plays against them. They're going to give up a touchdown or two. It's inevitable. Doesn't matter how good you are. And to me, that's the biggest problem. I said the Giants had to take 2 out of 3 from Cleveland, Seattle, and Baltimore. They did not, and find themselves in the precarious situation now where they have to beat the Cowboys. I mean, this isn't what you want at all. The defense, I don't know what's been going on the last couple of weeks, just sort of sitting back and getting picked apart. No sacks, no tackles for losses, no passes defended against the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, come on. 6 sacks they gave up. They didn't get to Jackson. They weren't able to really apply too much pressure, and they weren't able to get anything going. Nice to see Sterling Shepard had a good game, but this was just, again, when you're looking at the Giants and you're thinking, if this team makes the postseason, can they do any damage? And right now, I would say this is a one and done kind of team. I find that vastly disappointing. I'm not really sure that in this past week that they've figured out and settled what's going on with the offensive line. Ian Fleming should be out of the NFL. I don't know why why he ever even sees the football field. He's terrible. He's just a terrible football player. Dallas didn't want him as a backup. Why would you think he should be in your starting lineup or in your? It blows my mind.
Cameron Fleming, not Ian Fleming. You're right. He is a monstrosity.
Ian Fleming wrote James Bond.
But
a mystery either way.
Sean, what do you think of how I know the protection was rough, but how comfortable do you feel with Daniel Jones going in to this game?
I actually feel pretty comfortable with Daniel Jones. Obviously, it was an embarrassing game to watch. I think the Ravens imposed their will on both sides of the ball, but I actually thought it was one of Daniel Jones' better games of his season, considering the circumstances of, how bad the O-line was playing, just not really getting separation against the Ravens secondary. But like you said, another terrible game from the O-line. Pass protection has to be better. And this was one of the few games where I actually thought the run blocking wasn't there either. We weren't getting movement against the Ravens D-line. So that was really disappointing. And then on the defensive side of the ball, the D-line got absolutely dominated all day long. I haven't seen our D-line get pushed around like this really all year. There was absolutely no pass rush. They, were just letting the running backs and Lamar running them all day long. They were getting pushed around like little pee-wee football players. The Ravens O-line just dominated. And Joe actually brought up the stat that I was going to bring up, no sack, no tackle for loss, no pass deflection. That's the first time all season this Giants defense has done that. And it's almost hard to do if you think about it, to make no impact plays throughout the game. That's why they ended up putting up 27. I'm surprised it wasn't more because the defense really played poor. And the whole team did really. I just thought that Daniel Jones played well. And I just want to say, before we start thinking about the Eagles-Washington game on Sunday night, we still have to take care of business against the Cowboys. Like Joe said, they're a hot team right now. Ever since Andy Dalton's been back from COVID, their offense has gotten it rolling. And this is a team that we haven't beaten 7 straight meetings. So, as bad of a year as the Cowboys have had, we can't take them lightly, because we have to take care of our own business first if we have to worry about being in the playoffs this year.
All right, and we welcome on Trevor Keys from Keys to the City as well. But I'm going to kick it to you, Zay. What do you expect from this game coming up with the Cowboys and the Giants?
Let me be the first to say, I think I was the only one to pick the Ravens last week. But that being said, I don't remember anyone picking the Ravens. I believe Joe picked the Giants also to win the game for his pick of the week. I could be wrong.
I find that hard to believe.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure we can play the tape back.
Pick the Giants.
What are you even talking about?
I'm pretty sure he picked the Giants to win, but maybe I read it.
That was probably the week before.
Maybe it was the week before. He's in that. Anyway, I'm telling you guys, the Giants have reverted back to the Giants they were a couple of weeks ago, and they're a rebuild team. I don't know why you expect anything more, but they are in perfect position right now, because if they win, they make the playoffs, and you see improvement. If they lose and a couple other teams lose, they get the 3rd pick in the draft. I see them in the perfect position. What better position could you want to be in right now? If you win, you're in the playoffs. If you lose, you get the 3rd pick. And for you non-Daniel Jones believers, that could be Justin Fields. For some of you non-Daniel Jones believers. But like I said, the Giants are what the Giants have been at the beginning of the year. They're a rebuilding team that showed some improvements. And last week, they showed you again, they're a rebuilding team that needs improvement.
All right. Now, Trev, what do you expect from the Washington Eagles games? And can the Eagles give the Giants the help they need to get into the playoffs?
I can't believe I got to root for the Eagles 2 straight weeks in a row. I had to root for Dallas last week, and now I got to root for Philly. You guys are killing me. But no, I mean, Washington's just Washington. I mean, they literally had it for the taking last week. It was literally on a silver platter. It was Merry Christmas, Washington. You're going to the playoffs. And my boy Dwayne Haskins struggled, but that defense continues to show why they're one of the best defensive lines, I should say, in the game. And their offense can't score. So it's on Jalen Hurts and that struggling offense as well to get it going. So it's a toss-up. It doesn't matter what happens with the Giants and Dallas game. Washington wins. We're not talking about the Giants and Dallas anymore. We're talking about Washington in the playoffs, plain and simple. That's what it comes down to. And it's amazing that It's week 17. Think about this. Week 17 and the New York Giants. Yes, 5-10 still have a chance to miraculously make the playoffs. And I did say also that one team was not going to win more than 6 games. So it must be signs point to the New York Giants winning the NFC East for me.
All right, Joe, what do you think of this matchup?
First of all, I don't know what in God's good name Isaiah was saying, but now all that aside,
I'm pretty sure y'all. I gotta go back and watch the tape. But anyway, I'm pretty sure some of y'all will agree that the Giants.
I may have said I hope the Giants win. I certainly not pick the Giants to win. Again,
not neither.
I think I've explained each and every week that this team's failure to score points is what makes them not my pick. They don't score enough points to beat any of these teams. I mean, Dallas has been putting up like 30 points a game. So, no, I don't expect the Giants to win this game at all. I hate to say that, but I really don't. I do agree with you on this, Isaiah. And Trevor and I had this conversation on Keys to the City the other day. Look, if this team finishes 5-11, it'll be disappointing, but it'll be what I expected. My best case scenario for this season, and Trevor can attest to this, I said, if they go 5-11, here's what I want to see, though. I want to know Daniel Jones could be the guy going forward. Check. I think that's that. I think it's obvious they need a number one receiver. I've been saying that all year. It's become very evident in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Evan Ingram's not good enough to be your go-to guy. You need a real number one receiver. The way the Giants get called for offensive pass interference, tell me anybody else gets called for as many offensive pass interferences as the Giants do. They never get those calls down the field ever. But I think a number one receiver could put that to rest. As far as the defense is concerned, I mean, I love it. I think this defense is outstanding. And I think if the Giants can flip the script, get Saquon Barkley back next year and actually stay on the field for half the game, I think this defense takes care of itself. We obviously see the major need for an edge rush. So we know what the problems are. We see all the progress.
Outstanding.
Yes.
The defense let up 100 yards rushing yards in the first half. It was 100 rushing yards let up in the first half. It couldn't cover the tight end all day. The tight end ate them completely alive. I don't even know how many yards he had, but I know he was well over 100. He ate that defense alive, no matter who they put on him. That defense is a lot worse than you're making them sound. Like they're not that good. I don't know what defense you're watching.
Disagree.
Yeah,
I don't. I think they need
37 minutes. I mean, 37 minutes and 71 plays. How are you going to stop that?
What? The team looked completely unprepared for the game. Did you watch the same game?
Yes. And so, I told you guys this the other day in our text chat. The problem here, and the person I put this on is Joe Judge. I mean, all this team had to do was win a couple of games and they were good to go. Instead, the offensive line turned into an absolute disaster. How did that happen? You fired Mark Colombo and things slowly got worse to the point of the last 2 weeks. It has been a disaster. So this falls on Joe Judge in a big way. Give him a pass all you want, but how does this team not get up for any of these games? I mean, the defense been playing great all year. Again, another week where they knew it was going to be on them, and it was 18 minutes. The Ravens had the ball in the first half for 18 minutes. Give me a break. What do you expect this defense to do? This is on Joe Judge. You got to get this team prepared. Jace was like, oh, they'll be extra prepared. Whatever the hell that was supposed to mean. They were prepared. This is on Joe Judge. And I'll tell you what, I know he's a rookie coach, but he's got to start taking some responsibility for some of these stupid things that he's done. Because he's hurt this team a little bit in the last 4 or 5 weeks.
It's almost like he was betting on Dallas. Like he betting on winning the Dallas game. Like they were prepared. They came prepared last week for that just to lose and move on to Dallas. That's what it looked like to me. They wanted to get to Dallas.
Well, I think if you look at it, the Giants, they struggled, but at halftime, they came back and they played at least a little bit better at half. I think seeing that flip switch that last game, it wasn't like the 2 games prior where they just basically rolled over and died. So I see that on a little bit more of an upswing. That's why I'm taking them to get it done against the Cowboys this week.
Jace, how are they going to score? How are they going to outscore Dallas?
How are they going to I think Daniel Jones is recovered enough coming into this week. He'll be able to be a little bit more mobile.
Talk to the medical personnel. You know that for a fact.
No.
He looked like garbage.
An extra week of rest.
An extra week of rest?
Oh, extra week of rest. He played
in a month. How are you telling me he's 100? He's going to be ready to go. He hasn't moved.
I'm not saying that. I'm going to say he's going to be a little bit better than the week before. That's what I'm saying. And what they need to do is they need to establish the run. You go back to the win streak; they were averaging over 100 yards per game.
Right, because the offensive line was blocking and making holes. Now they're not, and now it's a problem.
Yeah, but they aren't even attempting runs. Like the usage, the carries for both Gallman and Morris have gone down.
Yeah,
the fact. Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry, Sean.
No, I was just gonna. No, you can go.
I just want to say, fact of the matter, if Jones can't run, that offense doesn't go. That offense goes with Jones can run, and he can't run.
I know they say he's 75, 80%, but when a guy that can move out of the pocket and use his legs just as well as his arm, to me, that's 50%. Plain and simple. So he's not 100%. And I said this when he first got injured, though. What did I say? 1,000,000%. And you kind of corrected me. But that's what I want. I want Daniel Jones at 1,000,000%. But what does it also tell Giant fans that even Daniel Jones at, I don't know, 50, 60% is still better than a Colt McCoy at 100%? It's got to be something. I mean, that's concerning. Yeah. They're still going to go with a guy that's not 100% over a guy that's has a veteran presence. That's, I know he hasn't been in a lot of big games, but still, don't you want the guy that's 100% healthy?
Right. And Trevor, he's been able to move the offense up and down the field.
Like
he's not a good quarterback, but he's healthy and he can get them up and down the field.
Exactly what they're saying. He does just enough to make the plays when asked. And that's all I need. I don't need Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen numbers or Aaron Rodgers numbers. I don't need that. All I need is just a nice balanced game where the running game's going. And I know it's hard to ask. The offensive line could get back to who it was, but that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for the guy to throw for 400 yards in a game. Like, it's not going to be that way. But we just need to find some way.
And you don't think Daniel Jones can do that? Daniel Jones can't manage the offense as last week.
Did he do it last week?
Against a worse defense in the Cowboys defense. Cowboys defense is not as good as the Ravens was.
Cowboys defense is terrible.
Yeah, but the Giants have proven over the years we can't guard their offense. That's my problem. We
I
can't stop that offense
against the Giants.
I think we have a better shot this year.
Again, at the end of the day, if the Giants can't move the football,
it's over.
The defense is out on the field for 40 minutes. There is a 0% chance that the Giants
turn the channel and put on Red Zone if that's the case, because it's going to be a long game. That's what I did last week. Guys, I got to be honest. I didn't really watch much of the game because they got out to a 14-0 lead. I'm like, here we go again. They had a 9-minute drive on the first drive of the game, Baltimore right down. And what did the Giants do? They go a minute and a half, 3-and-out. Nice. That's going to get the job done against anybody. Even that garbage Dallas defense, that's going to get the job done. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's the quarterback. If the offensive line can't get anything going, if the running game can't get established, I don't care who your quarterback is. You're not winning the game. Plain and simple. It's silent. Did I make
I would say all those teams have better defenses. Don't have better defenses than
it's 100 points in the last 3 games.
All those defenses are terrible. You got to take it into context, I think. So
sure, 100 points. That's about 33 per game. So say the Giants keep them to 21. How do they score 22?
Are the Giants scoring 21 points?
You say that's terrible.
Grounded pound.
You say they're terrible defenses, but didn't the Giants lose to the 49ers when they were healthy?
Yep.
Yeah, week 3. That's a long time ago. That's.
But the Giants were healthy there. They had a healthy team. The 49ers weren't even healthy. They're probably a much better team back then than they were now. And you think the Giants are a better defense? You guys.
The Niners are a better team now?
I know. I didn't say they're a better team.
No,
I did not say that. 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 Do not quote me for that.
All right.
Hold on. One last thing. All I'll say is about the defense, and I'll agree with Joe. I know the defense has been struggling, but when you're on the field about like 60% of the time, it seems like, or 100% of the time, it seems like, it doesn't matter what defense it is. They need rest, and your offense needs to get something going. And the Giants haven't been able to. 8.7 points per game the last 3 games. That's not getting the job done. I know you can blame the defense. That's fine, but it all comes down to. I'm not saying the defense is amazing. I'm not saying that. There's a lot of work to do with that defense still. They're young. They got to get a pass rush. I've been saying it, and it doesn't matter if the defense could do all they want. If the offense can't get anything going, Zay,
I know.
it's gonna be a long day.
I think the bigger issue is if the Giants can't win with Daniel Jones not healthy, I think that's a bigger long-term issue than anything because he's proven that he can't stay healthy. And
yes.
Good quarterbacks have proven that they can win when not healthy. Aaron Rodgers has gone out there and played hurt. Tom Brady has played hurt. These, big-time quarterbacks have played hurt. If he can't do that, I don't see how he could be a big-time quarterback in this league for long. You're talking about Eli Manning never missed the game for the Giants. Never.
Mm-hmm.
Take that for granted as Giant fans. Now that we look at it,
you're right.
Wish we had Eli as a backup this year.
Bring back Captain, baby.
I don't know why they didn't call him. She doesn't seem like he's doing much.
Hey, guess what? If that happens, you know who he'd play in the first round? His good old friend, Mr. Tom Brady, and Brady would just love to see Captain E again.
Well, Brady probably have COVID that week. He probably have COVID that week.
All right, but let's move on from Giants talk. Let's get into the CMG Sports Game of the Week. Dolphins at the Bills. So, what do you think of this matchup?
I think Josh Allen's the MVP of this league. I think he's a guy who's been underestimated all year. I think he's going to go in there and beat the Dolphins just to complicate their lives a little bit more. But this Bills defense went through a little rough patch. They seem like they've got it together. I've been saying all year, to me, Josh Allen's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. And every week as we drop guys in and out of that list, the consistent ones have been Mahomes and Rodgers and Josh Allen. And they've won their games. They put up great numbers. If you take a look, I don't know which of the Keys brothers just shared this with me, whether it was Teddy or Trev. Yeah, look at the numbers, man, that Josh Allen has put up this year, and then consider what he does with his legs. This guy is an outstanding quarterback. That is a very dangerous football team. We just talked about it on Keys to the City, Trev, if you want to pick it up. We think that might be the only team that has what it takes to go head-to-head with the Chiefs.
I 100% agree. I mean, I know the NFC is just beating each other up because you just don't know. I mean, the Green Bay Packers look like they're taking advantage of it, but the Buffalo Bills, man, if you're not putting them into the discussion of Super Bowl tier, like winning the Super Bowl this year, then you're not watching the same thing. That Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, let me tell you, that's what a true number one can do for an offense. Look at Stephon Diggs, what he's done for that offense, and look what he's done for Josh Allen. He's elevated Josh Allen to a tier that we thought beginning of the year, coming into this year, we thought, oh no, is Josh Allen going to be a franchise quarterback for the Buffalo Bills? We all had those question marks. Now all of a sudden we're like, hell, he's there for the next 10 to 12 years. He looks like he's going to be running the AFC East, not any more Patriots. Looks like the Buffalo Bills have something special going on. You can't discredit. This defense is playing better. It's not what it used to be. And the running game, if they could get Devin Singletary and Zach Moss going, this Buffalo Bills team can score with anybody. And I seen the Chiefs. They looked a little. They have some glaring holes in offensively. Losing Clyde Edwards-Helaire for that Chiefs offense is huge, and it's going to show. And I can't wait to see if Buffalo gets to an AFC Championship game because sign me up for the Buffalo. I know the Bills lost to the Chiefs in Week 6. This is a completely different Buffalo Bills team. They are clicking at the right time, and that's what you see. Two different teams. You see the Buffalo Bills going in the right direction, and you see the New York Giants, who we thought 3 weeks ago. They're going to get into their stride. They're feeling good about themselves. They're going the wrong way going into crunch time. The Buffalo Bills are going the right way. I think the Bills are going to win big this week too. And I don't know I'm sorry, Dolphins fans. I don't know if you're going to make the playoffs. That means then.
Well, now let's talk a little bit about the Dolphins here, Sean. What do you think of Tua? I mean, he got benched, and then Fitzmagic came in to end the game last week against the Raiders. What do you think of Tua going forward for these Dolphins? Can they get the win in Buffalo?
I don't think that they're going to be able to get the win. I think the Bills, like they or one of the better teams in the NFL. I think they're probably the second best team behind the Chiefs. But the Dolphins, he's got to just be less hesitant. He's got to be willing to let the ball loose sometimes. I think that's the problem. He throws way too many underneath throws. He tries to have the safe checkdowns, and it kind of holds back the Dolphins' offense at times. Obviously, they don't have great receivers to go make plays on the outside, but when a player has a little bit of separation, you got to be able to fit it in there, and that's what Fitzpatrick does for this offense. I think they needed that spark in the game against the Raiders to go and beat them. So I think Tua will be better down the road. I think he's still adjusting to the NFL, obviously, but I think right now this is a must-win for them, obviously, to get into the playoffs. Their defense is going to have to show up. They have a great secondary with Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, so that's going to be a really good matchup, them going against Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley. But I think it's going to be a really exciting game. I think that the Bills will pull it out pretty close, I would say. But the Dolphins definitely have a chance if Tua, lets it loose a little bit against this Bills defense, and they can get some running game going too.
All right, and I know, Zay, you picked the Dolphins as your best bet. So what do you see?
Boldness. I like it. Oh, there's Mike.
Oh, your mic's muted.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah.
The best thing you said all night.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not boldness. I saw a report earlier that the Bills may bench a couple of players, or they may play only the first half. So that's why I went with Miami, and I believe Miami is just as good as a team. I believe the Bills are playing really, really good. I shouldn't say just as good as a team, but maybe a tier under the Bills. I do believe Miami is a top team in the AFC, though, or at least going to be one in the future. But right now, I believe if the Bills don't play that full roster, I believe Miami actually has a good chance of pulling this game out. So, and as like I said, it means more for Miami than it does for the Bills. The Bills already have locked up a playoff spot. They're already in. So it's more about Miami at this point getting in.
Okay, all right. And now, Trev, you went with the Bills here.
I think the Bills to win this game. I really do like what I'm seeing with Josh Allen. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed. I've been thoroughly impressed since the past month or so with Josh Allen. He's been going on a tear. I know he had middle of the season, had a little rough patch, but he's been on a roll. MVP. I mean, if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers, I mean, we'd be talking about Josh Allen maybe as the front runner to an MVP coming into Week 17. He's been that damn good. Stephon Diggs is going to lead the league in receptions and receiving yards. And that rushing game, like I said, the good thing is with the Miami Dolphins, I know it's crazy because they bench Tua again, but having a guy like that relief guy in Fitzpatrick who can make plays, who's been there before, and like last week, that's one of the plays of the year. I don't care what anybody says. What he made last week against the Raiders, that's definitely one of the top 5 plays of the 2020 year. I don't care what anybody says. The Dolphins defense, don't be careful. They're very, very good and underappreciated in this league. It should be a fun game. I do like both of these teams. It doesn't matter. If the Dolphins don't win, they're not making the playoffs. Or one of these games. There's 5 or 6 teams that are both at 10-5. There's going to be a team that's going to have 10 wins or even 11 wins and miss the playoffs. It's been that type of year. I bet all those teams are wishing they'd be in the NFC East, though. That's for sure.
You're right with that. Now, Joe, for your best bet, you took the Packers over the Bears.
I did. Real quick, though, want to point out 2 things. Based on Zay's point, Landon Roberts is done for the year, the run-stuffing linebacker for the Dolphins. And to Trev's point, Fitzmagic runs out every single year.
That's true.
And I expect I mean, he's not going to keep coming in like Mariano Rivera with these saves. So
never know. He's Fitzmagic, baby. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. But I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what. Do it.
I wouldn't bet on that every single week. Again, it runs out every year. He always comes up a little short, and I think this is going to be one of those weeks. Now, on to my game. The Green Bay Packers, speaking of teams that are playing well at the right time, I mean, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams just got it going on. They've been able to get the run going a little bit the last few games. And I'll tell you what, the Bears are no slouch, but unfortunately, they're not going to be within 7 of the Packers. I think Mitchell Trubisky has earned himself an extension in Chicago. And you guys been putting up 30 points a game, 5 in a row. You got to be kind of envious of that kind of offense, you know?
Which we got that offense, damn it.
You got to be envious, man, of the Bears offense, as horrible as that sounds. But the Packers are the best team in the NFC, and it's started to become a little more obvious week by week.
That's ridiculous. I can't believe you said that. Be envious of the Bears offense.
Who would have thought that, Chase? Now you can
30 points a game. I'd love it.
About the Bears to me.
I'd take 20 a game.
All right. You know what? I know Sean is looking for big scores.
15 points per game from the Giants.
Yeah, double digits would be great.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Let's get to 15 this week.
But Sean, you think the Colts are going to score big against the Jags?
Yeah, it's a big number, so it's a little bit scary. But I believe in the Colts this week. They've been scoring a lot of points lately. T.Y. Hilton's gotten to go, and they've had a dynamic backfield with Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor. They're able to run the ball at will, and I think they're going to be able to do that against the Jags. The Colts are also a team that, they're fighting for the playoffs. They're 10-5 right now, so it's a must-win. So I think they're going to go all out to try and beat up on the Jaguars. And I'm sure most of the Jaguars players in the second half are going to be ready to go home for the season after a tough 1 in 15 years. So I think the Colts will win by at least 14 here.
Don't forget, this is Jacksonville's only win back in week 1. Just remember that. The Jacksonville Jaguars were 1-0, and then they decided to start Mike Glennon, and then it's been terrible.
It's revenge time for the Colts. They're pissed about it.
Mike Glennon's a real solid back.
And then, hold on, before we get out of it, everybody watch the Mike Glennon NFL highlights? Me and Joe were in tears.
They have those?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have
it's
those.
like-
2 minutes.
It's like a 2.5 long minute video, and it features mostly pick sixes.
Oh, nice.
That's terrible because he didn't play corner. That's very terrible.
It's like a Demas highlight tape from last year.
By the way,
Yeah.
Sean, I can't wait till it's 21-0 at half. I'm going to text you. It's going to be 21-0 Jags at half. Watch.
No,
That's just how crazy this year has been. Watch.
Knowing this NFL season, that's probably how it's
you're
gonna
gonna
go.
tell me you think the Colts are getting swept by the Jags this year?
No, that's why I picked Colts.
No.
I'm just saying with this year, with the way this year has been, it'll be 21
I
zip
get
at
what
half.
you said.
You never, they win their first and last games of the season. That'd be pretty Jags right there.
I'm going for my fantasy lock.
Ooh.
I'm going with the Jets, and this is gonna tie. This is gonna tie into my fantasy lock too. But I'm going with the Jets +3. I think they go on the road. They get the win for the Patriots because my fantasy lock this week, Sam Darnold, he's playing for a job. He is playing for a job, and I expect him to come out here against this
that job's going to be at Brooks Brothers.
Would you take Justin Fields over Sam Darnold right now in the draft?
No.
So he's playing for something. He's playing to prove to everyone that he is there, and he's going to be the guy because they lost out on Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going with the Jets to get the win against the Pats.
That would be so 2020.
And the Pats don't even they always lose this divisional game, week 17. Look how many times they lost to the Dolphins.
Are you really saying that the Jets are
17.
going on a 3-game winning streak?
I'm not going to be surprised. The Giants went on a 5-game winning streak. What's all that big of a difference?
It's possible. 2020.
Exactly how I feel.
They already lost the Trevor Lawrence lottery. But Joe, hit me with your man.
Change this fantasy lock next year to like fantasy participation.
This is my fantasy lock is this gentleman right here, Alvin Kamara. I've been I'm a big fan of this guy. Trev and I had talked about this on Keystone City the other day. The Saints' big issue when Drew Brees was out was Taysom Hill's game style just doesn't jive with getting the ball to Alvin Kamara. Kamara was seeing less than 10 carries a game. He wasn't getting the ball thrown his way. Drew Brees comes back and he puts up 6 touchdowns. I don't expect him to put up 6 every single week, but they're going to ride that hot hand. We know what Drew Brees is capable of doing, and it's getting the ball to Alvin Kamara, and I expect him to have another monster week.
All right. And Sean, my man, with the that's the SpongeBob square pick of the night.
No, it's
Alvin Kamara.
I will happily take it over the Horses aspect of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the biggest scoring weeks of the fantasy season.
You want to be SpongeBob?
And you go with him. That's a SpongeBob Square pick. If you would have picked him last week, it would have been a good pick.
If I would have picked him last week, I wouldn't even let you pick this week. That would have been what I would have won.
Okay. All
I
right.
would have shut you down.
You're not wrong.
Tyrant.
We'll see. But I like Shawnee's pick.
Hanging out with me too much.
Dude, look, hold on. This show's like 25 more minutes. Can you pick a better fantasy lock?
Yeah, for God's sakes, make it. Come on, end on a good note. 2020, for God's sakes, and not something.
Don't you want to score double digits before the year is out?
Like seriously, you wanted to pick anybody.
I scored double digits last time.
Yeah, who won? Oh, wait, Jace, did I win again?
You did.
Yeah, that's 4 or 5 weeks.
No, not last week. Last week,
I know that's 4 or 5 weeks.
Dude, he picks Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert has like a Baker Mayfield week.
Yeah, and Jace has to wear my nice Ohio State scarlet red, baby.
Yeah, I ordered it.
Atta boy.
But all right, Sean, I like Sean's pick. He went out on a limb a little bit.
My boy's
what you got?
Yeah, he's been having a really underrated year. He's in the top 10 in receiving yards. He's also had a lot of touchdowns. But just 2 weeks ago, he played the Buccaneers, and he went out for 32 points. He had 10 catches for 163 and a touchdown. And like I said, with Julio Jones out with his injury, I think he's going to get a lot more of the targets. And I think that he's had a really incredible year. He's just been stuck on a bad Falcons team that hasn't gotten the job done. But I think he's going to have another successful game against the Bucs like he did 2 weeks ago. So yeah, Calvin, really, let's get it done, brother.
How is that not a SpongeBob SquarePants or whatever the hell you call it?
No.
He's not even the number one wide receiver on his team.
Yeah. Julio Jones is out, and he's been their stud guy for weeks. He's he's having a career year. What are you even talking about?
Still the number 2.
Julio's out.
Okay.
That's why he's getting 10 catches a game.
He's going to be,
out.
But he's also
only been the last couple weeks. Yeah.
Hold on. Sean, this is fantasy lock. Pick your lock. Yeah, pick your pick. This is fantasy locks. You want to win. Don't pick nobody to lose because of them. You want to win.
You want to win with him?
Oh no!
Oh yeah! I'm gonna tell you, he's gonna win it this week. He's gonna win it big because the Browns may never be here again. That's right. They may never be on this stage where they are one game away from the playoffs. And
you don't think the Browns never get into the playoffs again?
Not if Odell's back next year. But no.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I like it.
No, but I do believe this is a big game for Baker Mayfield. I think a lot of critics will be out on him if he doesn't win this game. So I think he's going to come into this game extra pumped. I think he's going to turn it up. I think he's going to turn. He's been turned up the last couple of weeks, and I think it's going to continue. Him and that run game have been awesome for them. So give me Baker this week for the win. I hope
there's no excuse for the Browns to lose this week. Plain and simple, there's no excuse. Mason Rudolph's playing a quarterback. They should win and take care of business. Jace, if you wanted to pick Mason Rudolph, I would be all right with that. For God's sake, you picked the New York Jet guy twice.
Hey, I mean,
I won twice.
And would you rather I pick Cam Newton? Sam Darnold's a better pick than Cam Newton.
Wait, in Jason's defense, Belichick says Adam Gase is
that's going to be the best
great coach, and he's a great offensive mind. So that's probably why Jason's taking Sam Darnold this week.
Jason,
if you got the Belichick seal of approval.
If you pick Graham Gano, I would be happy with that.
Wow.
Nah, dude.
Wow.
He's going to have more points than freaking Sam Darnold.
He's probably going to have more points than the Giants.
No, he won't.
Giants are going to win 15-14. He's going to have 15 points. He's going to hit all 5 field goals. That's it.
Okay.
Better.
Right. Well, who's your fantasy lock? You and Ovi both picked Lamar Jackson, Trev.
Oh, I didn't know Ovi picked Lamar too. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Stop playing. You two made the same pick last night together.
I did not. The last time I had this was with Derrick Henry, and I gave it to Joe, and then Derrick Henry rushed for 3,000 yards. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson still because I think he's playing out of his mind right now. And then I know the Cincinnati Bengals have won 2 straight games in a row. But let's not forget, this guy was the MVP last year. He was 23. He's only 23. His completion percentage last 5 games, 67%, 882 yards. And by the way, he's going to rush for another 1,000 yards. I expect him to torch the Cincinnati Bengals this weekend and get the Baltimore Ravens back into the playoffs as one of the most dangerous teams in the AFC this year.
All right, and we're going to end the show. Joe,
Don't be so excited, Jace.
What?
Jace looks
I'm
so
not excited. What?
Jace, it's the last show of 2020, baby.
No, yes.
Wait, I have a question for Trevor Keys, who I noticed was enjoying his dinner when the show started. Does anybody else have the feeling there's a young lady sitting on the other side of his camera, like on a date with him right now?
I was waiting for him to grab some wine.
That's what me too. I feel like he's gonna cheers this girl in a minute.
I got the Italian dressing. I had a nice water bottle. I had some food. I had like salad. I had broccoli. I gotta get the protein, baby.
It sounded like he had a steak over there.
I thought Teddy was gonna walk up to the table with no shirt on and an apron and like serve up 2 plates.
I repeat, there is no female in the same room as me right now.
Sounds like you had steak and wine over there with a female cutting it up.
Do I wish there was? Absolutely. But that's another story.
All right. But before we
come on, guys, 2020 is coming to an end. Aren't you guys like sad?
No,
you're right. Not like anything happened this year.
Hey, but 2021 could start off on a good foot with the Giants making the playoffs. And before we sign out, Joe, are the Giants going to make the playoffs?
No. And it's okay. Like I said, I saw what I needed to see out of this season. I think at this point, it's best to get the higher draft pick, let you hopefully get the guy that you want. I think you get Saquon back. Again, I feel comfortable with Daniel Jones. It's the make or break year 3 for him. So he's going to have to go out there with a team that hopefully they go out and get him a pass rush. They get him a real number 1 wide receiver. I don't care who they draft or who they sign in free agency, but those 2 issues need to be addressed. And if they do, I think that this team wins the division next year and is an actual contender. And as Isaiah said, look, it is a rebuilding team. And, I had disagreed with Teddy the other day, Trev, when he was calling it fool's gold. I don't think it was that. I think that ultimately the idea that this team built around an offense on Saquon Barkley, there was nobody good enough to be in that role. It's not Wayne Gallman. It's not Lewis. It's not Morris. I mean, each of those guys does something similar to Saquon or has maybe one of Saquon's many features, but nobody could fill that role. The glaring weakness at the wide receiver position and the fact that Evan Engram, whenever Daniel Jones needs to make a completion, that's who he looks to. And far too often, this guy drops the football. They're going to have to get that addressed and figure it out in some way, shape, or form as well. But I don't want to see the Giants win this week. I'll sit there. I watch them get destroyed by the Ravens till the bitter end of the game, and I'll do it again. I'll do it again this week. I hope it's a close game. I hope Daniel Jones plays well. I hope he can move around the pocket. I hope he can run a little bit. I'd love to see him have one last really good game, put up some numbers. But I think at the end of the day, I think Dallas's offense is too good. I think Andy Dalton, and I was hopeful when Dak first went down. Not hopeful, but I thought this is a good backup to have. He's no Mike Glennon, Trev, but he's as solid a backup as any. Talk about Mike Glennon, for God's sake. Come on. Anyway, you want to put backup on your team. Andy Dalton is better than Colt McCoy, obviously, and it shows. And
is he though?
Is he? Yeah. Yes. I'll tell you what.
Could Dalton beat the Seahawks when it mattered? I don't know.
Again, Colt McCoy is an excellent backup quarterback, and he'll serve the Giants well in that role going forward. But who's going to start and win a big game? I would put some money on Andy Dalton if I had to. I wouldn't, and I won't, but that's where the smart money would go.
I think you're living in the past of Andy Dalton, but whatever.
I don't know. I mean, he never won a playoff game.
What the hell was that?
He never won it. I said I think he's still living in the past with Andy Dalton. He never won a playoff game, but he got there every year. He literally got to playoffs every year and lost.
Said he's playing well enough that he's
I don't think he's better than Colt McCoy. I don't think he's a better backup than Colt McCoy right now. Currently, right now, I don't think so. Currently, right now,
I would take Andy Dalton 10 times.
I think Colt McCoy moved better than him. He's been moving. He moved pretty well in the offense, considering he's not a mobile quarterback. He looked pretty well out there when he was playing.
Andy Dalton has put up 100 points in the last 3 weeks. Tell me he's not.
Well, also, I understand that, but I still don't believe. I believe that it's the weapons that they have.
It also helps.
I could go there and go for 30 yards with those receivers. Those guys are fucking monsters.
When he has a great running back like I'll agree with you on this one. I do agree with it in the sense that look at the offense that he has. It helps to have an offense. I don't know if Andy Dalton was with the Giants right now, it'd probably be the exact same thing we're seeing with DJ and McCoy.
Terrible, yes.
It wouldn't be anything special. But when you have guys like Dalton Schultz, you have CeeDee Lamb who's flourished, Amari Cooper. I know they fought Zeke, but Zeke hasn't done much. Michael Gallup. I mean, Michael Gallup would be instantly the Giants' #1 receiver, and he's a number 3 in Dallas.
And I think their line is slightly better than the Giants' line right now. I don't think they're the line of pass.
And that's saying a lot from the depleted offensive line.
Yeah,
Cowboys.
So
I think that's the big problem.
I just want to be clear on something. I need to be clear on something. So, if a quarterback has weapons and he is able to hit those weapons and utilize them, he's not a good quarterback. Did I get that right?
No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that he has more of that to work with in his situation than what McCoy has in his situation.
It's simpler for him to do what he's been able to do with that offense. If he was with the Giants, it'd be very similar to watching DJ and Colt McCoy in the sense of he'd be struggling. He'd be getting sacked. He wouldn't be having no run game. And he doesn't have the weaponry like the Cowboys do. And I think we can all agree with that. That's all we were trying to say. We weren't trying to.
Yeah,
if you want to go toe with me, bring it on. Let's go. Think of something. Let's go.
I think that's an absurd thing to say. Andy Dalton took his team to the playoffs 7 years in a row. He didn't win any games, but he got there 7 years in a row. What are you talking about? You know who doesn't go to the playoffs 7 years in a row? Bad quarterbacks. I mean, I can't even believe we're having this conversation. Again, we're going to argue. We're going to argue an hour from now about the fact that Mac Jones is the Heisman winner because he has weapons. I mean, that's an absurdly stupid thing to say.
I never said he wasn't a good quarterback at any point. I just said currently, at the moment, I think Colt McCoy is a better quarterback. I just think Dalton is in the better situation. That's why he looks better. I didn't say that Andy Dalton was a terrible quarterback his whole career. I'm just saying at the moment, Dalton is in the better situation.
But mention he's lost 7 playoff games again, though. That's what you're insinuating, that he's not a good quarterback.
Oh, my God. I never said... Yeah.
Look, what's your insinuation, then? You brought it up twice already, that he lost all 7 playoff games. So,
he lost all 7.
What's the point you're getting at?
My point is he isn't great, but he's a good quarterback. You bring it up that he went to the playoffs like that makes someone great because they make the playoffs. But making the playoffs every year, the 7 years doesn't make you great. It makes you a good quarterback.
Taking your team to the playoffs 7 consecutive. Why don't you look that up and see how many quarterbacks have done that in history?
Andy Dalton's been to the playoffs like 3 or 4 times.
I'm pretty sure there was a break in between there too. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think there was. He was only there for 7 years, so there couldn't.
Go look it up, Joe. That guy.
Yes, right. I don't
want to argue about Andy. I don't give a crap about Andy Dalton. I can't even believe that. I can't believe we spent 6 minutes talking about Andy Dalton. I don't care.
He's not better than McCoy right now. Just in a better situation.
All right, that's.
Imagine if it was Gary Sanchez argument now.
Oh no! Oh, stop it.
Hey, my man Reggie Jackson's on Gary Sanchez too. I think Reggie knows a little more than you.
Reggie, go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Jeez. All right.
I'm sending you a Reggie bar for Christmas.
I love it.
Oh my God.
You still owe me a shirt I have to wear.
That's right. Well, I'm going to wait for the inauguration.
You should probably do that real soon because the next day after the inauguration, I won't be here anymore. So.
Oh damn. All right.
What does that mean?
I won't be in the state of Connecticut anymore.
Oh, look at him moving on up.
Just me.
All right.
Just me. Breaking.
This Jawing About the G-Men was brought to you by Clovercrest Media Group, CMG. Make sure you go to CMG Media, clovercrestmedia.com to look at all the other podcasts, multiple ones. CMG Sports has Keys to the City, Posting Up Pod, Roll Call, bunch of great sports, bunch of great podcasts. Check it out. as well as obviously coming up right after this, we got all 4 downs with our boy Obi.
One for everybody. One for everybody that did good tonight.
Joe, who did good tonight, Joe?
Why is it 3?
I'll be handing out Reggie bars after the show.
It's 4 of us.
Yeah.
I'm a Red Sox fan. I don't want one.
I'm a Mets fan. You can keep it.
All right.
You weren't getting one.
For
right.
myself,
I'm just
Joe
trying.
Dwyer, Sean Scanlon, King Zay, and thank you for joining us, Trevor Keys.
Thanks, guys.
Happy New
Have
Year.
a happy New
Hey,
Year.
Happy New Year.
everyone, please.
Happy New Year, y'all.
We'll see you next Wednesday.
See you next.